on believing. We overcome this stress one day. NRP, I got this feeling, wonderful feeling. Let me see the and them not touch out the ceiling. NRP, they want top again. I got this feeling, wonderful feeling. Keep the faith and keep on believing. We overcome this stress one day. I'm voting for NRP, the performance party. The other party a comedy, like them one for a coming movie. Voting for NRP, the performance party. The other party a comedy, like them one for a coming movie. So we got to preserve what we got. Sweet Nevis, we have to take it back. We need more jobs for the youth on the block. More positivity, no negativity. Oh Lord, love for the ladies and the babies. Everybody, we need a better Nevis, a better Nevis, a better Nevis. Whoa, we voting for NRP, the performance party. The other party a comedy, like them one for a coming movie. We vote NRP, the performance party. The other party a comedy, like them one for a coming movie. Vote, 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 vote. Where the green flag them? Oh, yeah. So show me your one if you're voting. Show me your one if you're voting. For NRP, you know we're voting. Sister Janice, you know we're voting. Voting, voting, voting. Oh, la, 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 la. Hey. Oh, yeah. I'm voting for NRP, the performance party. The other party a comedy, like them one for a coming movie. We vote NRP, the performance party. The other party a comedy. Oh, yeah. I got this feeling, wonderful feeling. Let me see the and them not a touch the ceiling. NRP, they want top again. I got this feeling, wonderful feeling. Keep the faith and keep on believing. We overcome this stress one day. Nevis, Reformation Party. NRP, Sister Janice. We voting. Get all the corruptions. Oh. Show me one. Show me one.
We are a bit late, but we are going to make it great. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to call this meeting to order. And you know, in everything that we do, we have to give God thanks. And so I will invite to the podium Mr. Maurice Tyrrell to come and offer a word of prayer. Mr. Tyrrell.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let us get ourselves in a posture of prayer. Almighty and ever-living God, we give you thanks for your love, your kindness, and your tender mercies toward us. We thank you, Father, for waking us up this morning in our right minds and for bringing us here safely. Now, Lord, I place the proceedings here tonight in your hands. I ask, dear God, that you will guide and guide, Lord, and may the words that express here penetrate some hearts and with the truth. And, oh, Father, may our Nevis public is educated and is poised to make the right choice on election day. Help us, oh God, to select the leaders that can lead us in a positive direction, and that the benefits would be spread to all and sundry on this island. And, oh Father, may be with the speakers as they present their ideas, as they present their thoughts. And at the end, Lord, may all be done to your names honor and glory is my prayer for Christ's sake. Amen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tyrrell. NRP people! Man, you're sleeping, don't sleep on me. NRP family! NRP people! Nice. We humbly apologize, Julie. We humbly apologize. We had some technical difficulties, but we were able to get them sorted out. And we want to say thanks to our technicians for working so diligently to ensure that we can have this meeting tonight and still have the opportunity to have persons overseas and those in the comfort of their homes be part of what is happening. So a round of applause for the technical team. All right. Now, tonight's meeting is near and dear to me, okay? Because we are located in a community that has helped to mold me. This is my hometown, ladies and gentlemen. And so I feel an extra sense of pride being here tonight. Good evening to the talented, the proud, the supportive people of my hometown, the BBB, the Big Bad Bath. Yes. Good night to the Doors, the Claxtons, the Wades, the Phillips, the Challengers, Hobsons, James, Taylors, Archibald, Romney, whoever you are. As long as you are from Bath Village, know that the Nevis Reformation Party is here to speak to you tonight. Tonight, as I said, I am humbled to be here on a stage in this community. This community has fed me, encouraged me, embraced me, kept me in line, pulled me up when I was wrong, and they like to proudly let everyone know that a Bath she from. And so the people of Bath must understand, I will not come to you who have done so much for me with anything that is not genuine. I will not come to you, the people of Bath, with a candidate who I don't believe in. I will not come to you, the people of Bath, with a team that I don't believe can move the country of St. Kitts and Nevis and the island of Nevis more specifically forward. And that is why I am standing tonight on this stage on behalf of the Nevis Reformation Party. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to share. We have a lot to offer. And I believe that Dr. Patricia Bartlett, a round of applause for Dr. Patricia Bartlett, is the most suited choice for the people of Nevis 9 at this point in time. Do you agree? Man, do you agree? believe that Rohan Michael Isles represents the best choice for the people of Nevis 10 at this point in time. Do you agree? Okay. I believe that Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge represents the best choice for the people of Nevis 11 at this point in time. Do you agree? And I believe that it is the Nevis Reformation Party that is the most competent party on the island of Nevis to take Nevis forward. Do you agree? And so, the choice must be clear on August 5th. The choice must be clear. We want you to go out and vote with a clear conscience. We want you to go out and vote because you are thinking about your future and your children's future. We want you to go out and vote on August the 5th because you are looking for a party that is not going to mash up things. You are looking for a party that's going to mend things. You are looking for a party that when they go across the waters, they come back and they bring something for you, not just for themselves and their families. You are looking for the Nevis Reformation Party. Ladies and gentlemen, this is serious business. This is serious business. And so, I need every one of you, whether you are physically here at Elrose Shopping Bath Village, you are in your homes in this community, you are viewing via the World Wide Web, wherever you are, I want you to understand that you have a role to play in this election. And let me tell you, your role doesn't necessarily have to be coming out to the public meetings, even though we warmly welcome you. Your role can be whispering to your neighbor, encouraging your neighbor to go out and vote for the Nevis Reformation Party. Your role can be talking to the gentlemen as you sit around the domino table and reminding them that you only see your representatives when it's an election period, when it's an election time. You can do that. Your role can be looking around at the at how talented your children are and the limited opportunities that are available to them. Your role can be spreading the word to fellow voters. That is your role. Even the children have a role to play because you need to say, I want more for myself, and tell your parents that you deserve more. You are just as capable as the politician's son and daughter. You are just as capable as the politicians themselves. You just did not get the opportunity, but you want that opportunity, and you believe that is the NRP that can present that opportunity. Everybody has a role to play. And we need to understand our roles. For this election, we are going to forget about the little things. We are going to forget about the time when we asked for 2 tanks of gas and we only got 1. We're going to forget about that. We're going to forget about the time when you took your dog to the vet and Dr. Bartlett was busy and so she couldn't tend to your dog. She tended to somebody else's dog. You're going to forget about that. You're going to forget about the time that Rohan gave your child 70% because the child cheated, but you know the child could have done better. You're going to forget about that. These are the kind of petty reasons people would tell you why they're not going to vote. Meanwhile, our country's future is at stake. We have 3 men who told us, give us a chance, strengthen our hand, send us to St. Kitts, send us to Church Street, and we will deliver for you. They said they were stronger together. Where are they now? Where are they now? Are we going to continue to reward incompetence the people of Bath Village? Are we going to continue to reward incompetence? Bath Village, wake up. I want you to recognize that they think that you are not very wise, but I know. J.D. Sasha Kikitwa Keyes from down the road in front of the New Testament church know that the people of Bath are no fools. The people of Bath just want opportunities. And this time around, I am pleading with you, the people of Bath, to demand more. Talk to them, yes, but demand more. Tell them they've taken you for a ride for far too long. You are willing to give somebody else a chance. And guess what? If you give us a chance and we don't deliver, you don't have to give us another chance. We are just asking you to give us a chance. Give us a chance. This community has voted overwhelmingly for this administration. And what have you gotten? You have gotten the bare minimum. We are thankful for what has been presented. But I am telling you, under the NRP, we will do more. We will do more for the people of Bath. And you can take my word for it, because I am from here. I was in your classroom. My child is in classroom with your children. When I wanted to establish a home and set up my future, what did I do? I came home just across the road. And so I am not going to have anybody neglect you in Bath. Take my word for it. And as a voter in Nevis 9, I maintain that Dr. Patricia Bartlett is the best choice for you in this constituency. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting warm. It's not about me tonight, but I had to share that with you because I recognize that this is serious business. Allow me to take a moment and apologize for the absence of Rohan Isles. He really wanted to be here, but something came up last minute, and so he couldn't, but he sends his apologies. I know we are going to miss his voice tonight, but he's here with us in spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to now call Alexi Phipps. Alexi Phipps to come forward. Yes, give him a round of applause as he comes. We are going to have Alexi Phipps come forward. He is a voter in Nevis 9 to endorse our candidate, Dr. Patricia Bartlett. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Everybody hear my name, right? I'm not from Nevis, but I live in Nevis. Yes. I had my first child, Samuel, my second child, Estelle. I living in Dominican Republic for 28 years. I know get child in Dominican Republic. I get my child in Nevis. Yes, yes. Right? I live in Nevis for 18 years. In 18 years, I had a lot of difficulty to get job, especially for this government now. But sometimes I looking at helping in the government. You know what they tell me? I don't got nothing for you. I working on the road. Just NRP people gonna be support me. Yes. I see a big future for Nevis in NRP people, especially to Patricia Bartlett. And everybody in NRP looking at future for everybody, not just for Nevis people. The Spanish people from Colombia, Spanish people from Mexico and Nevis, and Hispanic people from Dominican Republic. Yes. We got future for everybody in Nevis because them. I telling to all the Spanish people in Bath Village, voting and support NRP party if you wanna get a better future, if you wanna get a job in the future. But now you see a lot of Hispanic people working on the road, no got nothing to do at all. But I waiting. I talking in English now, but I wanna everybody hear what I feel in my heart. But next time, next second, I'm gonna be in Spanish to all the Spanish people around the area. Gonna be hear what I'm saying. But now I wanna all local people see and hear what I feel in my heart about NRP. I living in Bath for years. Just see NRP people gonna be support me and helping me to help my people around me for years. The Prime Minister in Nevis in the power now, not do nothing for nobody else. I see the notice, I see some information, everything take up on his pocket. That's not true. When a people take a power and a political thing, think about the country, think about the people, don't think about your pocket. When a family get a break, you got sick people in the family, everybody take a piece. One people in the house can't take a bread. You have to give you a piece, everybody go to eat. But now, you know what happened? I want to see somebody eat something in Nevis. But the government take everything by it. But now is the time. It's the moment to change everything better for Nevis. But who can do that? NRP party! Now, I'm going to speak in Spanish. Mi nombre es Alexi Phipps. Yo quiero que todos los dominicanos alrededor de Bad Billy, Caracol, Bon Pasha, Stony Grove, all around the island, todo alrededor de Nevis voten por NRP, soportando especialmente en Bad Village a la doctora Patricia Bartlett en la Constitución número 9, al igual a la doctora Janice Hott, igual que al doctor Rohan. Yo quiero que todos los dominicanos ayuden y soporten al partido de NRP. NRP tiene muchos planes para los hispanos, especialmente para los jóvenes que están sin trabajo en las esquinas, las mujeres que están sin trabajo, que tienen que hacer cosas innecesarias para poder sostenerse. Hay planes de trabajo, hay planes de casa para las rentas. Le pido en el nombre de Dios que ayudemos a este partido a ganar, porque es la mejor dirección para tener un mejor futuro y un mejor trabajo, una mejor vida. Estamos pasando mucho trabajo. Necesitamos un cambio en Nevis. Queremos que voten por NRP Party. I need to all Spanish people going to be support NRP in this selection. El 5 de agosto, levántense con una botella en la cabeza y márquenla. The 5th of August, when you wake up, put on your head a backlight, green backlight. When you go to the room to voting, mark the backlight voting for NRP. Si quieren una mejor oportunidad, voten por NRP. If you wanna a better opportunity, vote for NRP. Si quieren un mejor futuro, voten por NRP. If you want to be a better future in your life, vote for NRP. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful endorsement. Wonderful endorsement by Mr. Alexi Phipps. I think you got the gist of what he was saying, right? Yes, and he's telling the people, all Spanish speakers, those from the Dominican Republic, Colombia, Mexico, wherever you're from, to put it in your head that if you want a bright future, you vote for NRP. He says equally he supports Dr. Patricia Bartlett, Rohan Isles, and Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge. He reminds that if you want work, if you want job, you must vote for NRP, because NRP cares about the women, the single women. NRP wants to give you homes. NRP wants to help you. Vote for NRP. A round of applause again for Alexi Phipps. Yes, Julie, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, I am so happy that Mr. Phipps, and we see him all the time, him and his family, they go around and they support us at every single political meeting. They are always there. I know his children are friends with my daughter. And so I look at them very together, very loving family, and I am so happy that a man of his character and his caliber has come forward and offered his support, not afraid to say, vote for the Nevis Reformation Party. Because as Mr. Phipps said, NRP is the party that cares. And I know there's a lot of talk out there about NRP and our view of the non-national community. But see, we had somebody who isn't a Nevisian by birth, but who has made Nevis his home, come forward and speak about the goodness of the Nevis Reformation Party, because we are all inclusive. When we get into office, we are not just going to look out for our own and forget about the others. We are all inclusive, because guess what? We have CCM supporters who are our family members too. We have CCM supporters who, if we let them go hungry, they have to beg the NRP family for food. So what sense does it make? But right now in Nevis, we have a leader who is promoting division. Everything is division. We cannot talk about the issues. We cannot run a political campaign that's just focused on the issues. We have to go in the gutter. We have to go in the gutter. And I am saying to the people of Nevis, it's time to say no more of that kind of politics. No more. The dirty politics brings dirty representation, and we are fed up of it. And so the time has come to dismiss the dirty politics, and the time has come to dismiss the dirty politicians who promote this kind of thing. We're not playing, eh? We're not playing. And let me tell you something. Don't let anybody scare you. A lot of scare tactics will be coming, but don't let anybody scare you. When you go home, you go down on your knees and you pray. You go down on your knees and you pray. As a matter of fact, if you're not able to go down, stay where you are and you pray. Because no weapon that is formed against the Nevis Reformation Party shall prosper. We are tired. We are tired of this level of representation. And the people of Bath must be fed up. Look at your road. It's only because an election is coming they realize they want to dig up the road. And guess what? The election will come and go, and they don't finish the road. You know who it will take to finish the road? The Nevis Reformation Party. Because I am saying they are comfortable. Because we have voted for them time and time again, they have gotten complacent. They figure we don't have to do anything. That is what they say. But that is what they say about you. Man, we gonna just come around election time, give them a little sweetie, and they're gonna be good. That is what they're saying about you. And as a person who grew up in Bath, I am insulted, and so you should be insulted too. I want, when I bring Star across the road, that Star can be comfortable and know that she is around her peers and they can play in a safe environment. You know, they don't have to worry about these things. I want to know that when I am walking my child to college, I can walk somebody else's child as well, because they are on the same level. Not that one has the opportunity and another one doesn't. I want to know that just like how I was able to go to university, anybody else from Bath Village can go to university. You know how I was able to do that? Under the Nevis Reformation Party. Under the Nevis Reformation Party. We are about building our community and making life better for the people of Nevis. And so I am going to invite now a lady of class, a lady of substance, a lady who has given the majority of her life to the civil service. She is all about servant leadership, and she wants to be your parliamentary representative in Nevis 9. I am asking you to listen to her. Just listen to her. She is cool, calm, and collected, but you're not going to walk over her. She's not in the latter shouting and rancor, but you're not going to walk over her. She can sit down in a room and ensure that your needs are on the table and that you get what you deserve. I am speaking of none other than the doc with the right prescription. Ladies and gentlemen, help me bring on our candidate in Nevis 9, Dr. Patricia Bartlett. A round of applause. NRP, let me sing it to you. NRP, that's what sing it to you. NRP, let me sing it to you. NRP, that's what sing it to you. When I look around this island, I see progress and prosperity, development in every angle. I said it just for you and me. What the force of positive thinking from the men of the NRP. In the darkest time, they still shining. Let's give it up.
Good night, Bath Village. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. You hear what Jerry just said? Nobody gonna walk over you. Because to get to walk over you, they don't have to come to me. And nobody can walk over me. Now, I have a special space in my heart for Bath Village. I went to Charleston Secondary School. And initially, I had to walk from Brownhill to Charlestown every day and back. And so it was a blessing when my aunt moved to Bath Village, and I was taken by her so that she could lessen the load on my mother. So I spent many a days, many a nights right here in Bath Village. I enjoyed the granny nippers like everybody else. I still don't like them, but Bath Village has been home to me. So I feel like I'm back home tonight. So Bath Village, it is a pleasure for me to be here tonight. Now, we're here, and we say it time and time again, we are here early. And we apologize on behalf of the representatives who we would have sent to St. Kitts. We sent them to Bastia in 2020, so we have to apologize for their misbehavior because they were fired. And so we are here early, 3 years early. Now, they now want us just to focus on fair share. Fair share is what they want us to focus on exclusively, nothing else. They don't want us to focus on nothing else. They don't want us to focus on poverty. They don't want us to focus on the high electricity bills that we have to go through. All of those issues, they say, no matter with that. Let us just focus on the fair share. So look what. They have said to you time and time again, send us back to Bastia, so we can get for you what we promised we were going to get the first time around, and we didn't get. The problem I'm having with that discourse is this. They have not told us what they're going to do differently. So what are you going back to Bastia to do? The same thing that you did for the last 7 years? You couldn't get fair share 7 years now, and you plan to deliver if we send you back this time, but you're not showing us the plan? No, that is not reasonable. I'm sure the people in Bath would like to know. And so I'm going to ask the question. I'm just going to put it in the air. What is it they want to go back to Bastia to do? How is it they're going to achieve what they didn't achieve in 7 years? And then I'm going to leave it right there. So when they come, make sure that they have an answer. So let us get down to business. Let us tell you how we would get the fair share if you were to send us. Because we're not just focusing on one thing, you know. Because apparently they went to Bastia and they just focus on the glittery stuff. They just focus on the CBI revenues because they heard a lot of money coming in one part of the country. But they failed to recognize that we have been in a revenue sharing mechanism since 1983. And that allowed us to collectively get our resources together. All of the revenues collected in St. Kitts, collected in Nevis, and Nevis gets what we would have accepted as our fair share, which would have been between 24 and 25%. And we were going okay with that. But they went and they got distracted. And they're now focusing just on the CBI. And in the meantime, we are losing money on the other side. They just dropped the ball. These guys cannot focus on two things at the same time. But women can multitask, right? So we're going to focus on getting us the revenue that we deserve on the one hand, and then the CBI and all the other things would just be gravy. So you hear us talking about gravy? That is what they're fighting. That is what they mash up a whole government over, just the gravy. And the main course, they refuse to pay attention to the fact that we were losing revenue for all of these years just because they were stubborn, took us out of the revenue sharing agreement, and now left us high and dry. And so they are scrambling on the one end, and while we are bleeding on the other end. But like I said, we have a plan to fix that. So as it relates to us getting our fair share of what they are focusing on, what we have said and what we're proposing when you send us to Bastia, one of the first things on the agenda would be for us to make sure that we seek a constitutional amendment to make sure that non-tax revenues that captures the CBI and whatever other non-tax revenue generating activity that goes on, we are going to make sure that we capture everything. So we're not just going for fair share, which for them is just a small portion. We are going for the full share that Nevisians deserve. So for those who would not have heard it before, the piece of the pie I'm making reference to, of the revenue that we're not collecting, that over the last 3 years amounted to $81 million. Now imagine that. $81 million. Mind you, it might not have been as much as the minister claiming that he got in shares now, mind, the $44 million US dollars. We're going to get to that later. But what they have done to us, I don't think that, well, I'm not going to forgive them. And I am a person, I'm usually a forgiving person. But for them to take their eyes off the ball, and for the last 3 years, if you can remember, those were guava crop years. Things were tight. And as Auntie Shelley used to say, nothing to keep. In a Nevis, nothing keep for the last 3 years. And $81 million just gone like that. Poof. They paid no attention to collecting that. But you know what? We're going to move on from the fair share, you know. But because we already established that we have a plan to get it. So we're not going to waste too much more time with that. We're going to leave them with that, because with all the quarreling, they still ain't figured out yet how they're going to get to the fair share. But you know, I've been going around in Bath. I've been over Bath because, like I said, I feel comfortable. I drive through. I meet a couple of fellas here, there. I know the guys them by name and such. So I'm not going to call their name because I don't want them, you know, be targeted tonight. But I drive through all the time. I listen to people. I've been visiting homes. I need nobody to come in Bath with me because I feel like I'm a Bath villager. So some of the things that I've been hearing, and these issues speak to things like joblessness. When I go around and I see young men, and the thing is, you know, you have some ambitious people over here in Bath. You see that football field here? Every afternoon you have guys over there, guys with potential. Guys with potential. You have preacher up there every afternoon dedicated to helping these guys. But you know what? They can't get jobs to make sure that they could live a part of the community that they would like. So they spend a lot of time over there on the ball field. But these are young men with potential. And we have to make sure that they get their jobs, man. We must make sure that we provide jobs for these young men. So joblessness is an issue, and we're going to debate it. So all they want to run from the fact that we have unemployment rate sky high now. We're going to debate the issue. As a matter of fact, I want to send out a challenge to the person who I'm coming up against. Let us have a debate. I mean, I'm not cussing with nobody. I'm from Browning, so I could cuss. You know? But I ain't in that. I just want us to debate the issues. So at the end of the day, I don't care on which radio station because I feel comfortable on any of them. One could invite us. 102.1 could invite us. That is Vision 2020. Wherever it is, I'm willing to have a debate because I can assure you, at the end of the day, we're going to see who got style and who have substance. Because some of the things that they don't want us to discuss outside of joblessness in this bad village here is the high electricity bills. But we're going to talk about that. They don't want us to talk about health care. Health care. I tell you, I spoke to somebody this week and they said to me they have 6 funerals lined up to go to. 6 funerals lined up to go to. In a population of just 12,000 people, something is going on. We need to find out what it is. We must have that discussion. They don't want us to talk about inflation neither. You and I going to Rams, or we going to Value Mart and Best Buy every week, and we're coming out with less and less the money done. The money ain't going nowhere now, but they don't want to talk about inflation, but we're gonna make them talk about it. They don't want to talk about food insecurity either. If the boat not come, if the boat ain't come, if the water rough, whatever the circumstances, once they're negative and the boat ain't come, we're in trouble. We have to do something about that. You can't just talk food security. You have to put a plan in place, and we're gonna have to discuss that. Talk about affordable housing. When I got to Bath, I'm like, my people deserve better. I lived in Bath. Bath people deserve better. The couple of houses that they put over here, look how many people live in Bath. disrespectful. They need to come with more affordable houses in Bath. And we're going to have to discuss that too. Now, the vexing thing is poverty. I'm not saying when I pass to bad people any poorer than anybody else. But the observation is that we're poorer than we used to be. We are poorer than we used to be. And we are going to have to fix that because we see some people living high on the hog. You can't be living high on the hog and other people getting poor. That can't be right, so we're going to have to discuss that. As my Spanish friend would say, I'm not so sure I got the Spanish right, but I'm going to try a thing. We have mucho problemo. We have to fix the problems. We have too many problems, man. So tonight, I want to offer, for the people of Bath, I want to offer you some solutions. The solutions I'm coming up with, they're not just mine. I ain't taking, credit for it. They're NRP solutions to your problems. Other people just bring other problems and dump them on you. But we're bringing solutions. As it relates to job creation, we have too many unemployed and too many underemployed people. You have big people going out and tell me you're going out to work 2 hours in a day or 5 hours in a day. That's not good enough. Because what we have found is that we have put all our eggs in one basket, the tourism basket. So for 6 months, Judy, you're doing good. For the next 6 months, you get a little thing here, a little thing there. So whatever you worked for 6 months ago, you have to now make that do for the next 6 months. So it means that that is just a cycle of poverty that we're going to be ending up with here in Nevis. We can do better than that. We can do better than that. So they want to keep the people in Bath just where they have them, so that every 5 years they could give a handout and be rewarded for it. And I'm saying to the people of Bath who have interacted with, people who I went to school with, people who I live between, you deserve better than that. You deserve far better than that. It's about time, and I don't promote bribery, but it's about time. If it's one time you should listen to the premier, it's now. He has said to you, if anybody offer you money to vote, take the money and vote against them. So when they come with them brown paper bag and they come in, take the money. Well, I'm not supposed to say that. All I'm going to say is, listen to the premier. If you never listened to him before, listen to him this time. Imagine, Dee and Daniel wanted to have a project right here that bad people could benefit from. And what happened? They blocked Dian. So essentially, they blocked Dian. It means they block you. So all the jobs that project development would have brought to Bath, you all don't have it. So think carefully about that. Think carefully about that. See who really want to help you. Because if a man want to help you, he's not going to just give you a fish, he's going to teach you how to fish. So what we're going to do is, because, and don't take offense to this, bad people, it is legal. You could smoke a little ganja. But everywhere I go in Bath, I smell a little thing. So what we are saying is, we can't just leave it there for just recreation. This is an opportunity for us now to start planting ganja, start planting medical cannabis that we can benefit from. We can produce many jobs associated with it. So I'm not here tonight to promote this smoking of ganja because you ain't gonna stop, right? I'm not gonna start and you ain't gonna stop. The point is, this is an industry that we need to explore for the benefit of people because money is in there. The only reason, and I'm not here to knock thinkits, but they're not pursuing it because what? They have the CBI over there. We need to make sure that we pursue things that are legal. So whatever legal framework is left to be built to make sure that we could build out the medical cannabis industry in Nevis, we're going to pursue that. So we are not going to just stop there though. There are other things that we could do that bad people in particular could benefit from. Because we have spoken about it and now I'm hearing the other side. They just wake up. They've been cussing for so long. They just wake up, realize people ain't taking them out with the cussing, and everything we say, I hear them start parroting it over on the other side. So we said that we're going to create a road that connects over here in Bart Village all the way around on the coast, the south coast of Nevis, to collect gingerland to Bart. Now, that is going to open up an area over there. And I don't know how many of you go to collect your stock, because long time people used to go and drive in the sheep and goat, right? Maybe they're not going so far now. But that is a wide expanse of land in Nevis that has not been touched yet. So there is potential there when we start to develop this land. And we're not talking about just carrying a road around here so the person with the $44 million project could benefit, you know. We are talking about other projects as well. We are talking about development in the southern part of Nevis, similar to what we see over in the South Peninsula in St. Kitts. There is potential for us to explore, and we in the Nevis Reformation Party, we are quite willing and able to put the plans in place so we can explore that frontier right there. Now, as it relates to the high electricity bills, and I told you we were going to get there, we have a plan. Because what we are seeing right now is unconscionable. People shouldn't have to be paying twice what they use. You have a bill of $20, and well, let me not make it sound so modest, because nobody getting a bill for $20. You have a $900, Patsy? Really? You see, so Patsy over there, she had to pay $900, and chances are $600 out of that is surcharge. Because your surcharge is twice the amount of what you use. So it means that poor Patsy over here only burned $300 worth of the electricity. But she got to pay twice that. And that cannot be fair. Right, there you go, St. Kitts happening on. And guess what? We had representatives in St. Kitts. So when they were giving Skelec in St. Kitts, which is the sister electricity company, there you go, Patsy. That is a question that we need to put to bad people. When they were down there sitting in cabinet, making the approvals for things that came to the cabinet for St. Kitts people, you had 3 of them sitting there. None of them could have said, well, boy, could Nevis get something similar? I mean, they didn't ask for half of what St. Kitts get. They asked for nothing. So in St. Kitts, people don't have to pay surcharge. In Nevis, Nevlec would kill you with the surcharge. But we are proposing going forward that at least we offer a rebate of $500 to people so that you can get to cover your Nevlec bills, so you can catch up. Because we know some people are just paying as they go. This week you can pay $100. Next month maybe you could pay $150. And it's still, whatever the balance is, it is rising, mind you, because there's no relief. And we think that that is unconscionable. And so in the short term, we think people should get the relief. You cannot weather this storm, this economic storm, without some relief. And so we think that the short-term $500 is a reasonable amount to start our people with. Of course, we can't do that indefinitely. So we are suggesting you do that for at least 3 months, and then you can review. Because if the fuel prices go down, the surcharge is reduced, then it means that it's not reasonable for you to still expect the $500. So it is for review. So I don't want you to hold me and say, well, NRP, we voted for you, and think that you're going to get $500 rebate every month for the rest of your life. That is not what we're proposing. That is a short-term measure. But we still have to fix the long-term problem, because fuel comes from outside. And we are trying to suggest that the way we need to go is to go the way of renewable energy, which is cleaner and cheaper. I know I've been saying that now because I've been trying to advise the government whenever I go on the radio station. And I've been saying that now even before I got into government. We have to invest in renewable energy. And they just scoffed off. Pay no attention to it. And next I hear we're getting a Wärtsilä engine here, we're getting a Wärtsilä engine there. So for the past 5 years, we probably would have bought in at least 2 new brand Wärtsilä engine. Now, if we had pursued renewable energy, I'm not saying that geothermal was going to necessarily work out, but if we recognize at some point that the geothermal was not feasible, we should have already transitioned to solar energy. By now, Patsy, you should have had some solar energy cells on your panels on your roof to capture that energy. And what you don't use or you have excess, you could have been feeding it into the line for Nevlec and getting a little something back. Until now, we have done nothing. And what we are hearing is not our fault, it's Timo's fault. Everything is somebody else's fault. And then we are building homes, and by now we should be building smart homes that we are putting, when you get an affordable house, you have your solar panels on, and it reduces the overall cost of running your home. That is, I think, is forward thinking, but you cannot get it from people who are stuck. They are stuck in a place where they are comfortable. And if they are comfortable, they seem not to have any regard for the poor man. But we are going to reverse that. And we are asking you in Bath to open your eyes. We are pleading with you in Bath to tune in. Tune in. Look at what is going on around you. Do not be blinded by the style that flashes through now and then. And of course, we want to be able to remove all the related taxes from fuel for the next 6 months so that people could get some relief. I filled up my car 2 days ago, and it seemed like the more expensive the gas gets is the less distance that you could drive with the same gas. Because all of a sudden, my gas just done. After 2 days, it cost me $70-something to fill up, and after a couple of days, I have to go fill up again. So that is something I think people need relief, and we're going to have to address that. Now, I made reference earlier about, and it's a serious matter, people are dying in this place at a rate that we have never seen before, at an unprecedented rate, and we need to find out what is going on with our people. But in the meantime, we must modernize our healthcare system. It is not fair that anything happen to you, you have to make arrangement. Anything happen to you, you have to make arrangement either to go to St. Kitts or further afield. That cannot be right. With all the monies that have been spent in this economy, we should have at least secured the healthcare system. We shouldn't have to be going through what we are going through now, and people just dying. I'm hearing about so many cases of cancer. Why is it that we have so many cases of cancer? We have to explore these things. We must find out what is going on in our population. And so I'm imploring the people who are there now, for the balance of the time that you have left, please start investing in training new nurses. Because my friend here just said that the nurses are overworked. Is it fair that you're going to overwork the nurses and underpay them? I don't think it is fair. And the thing is, within recent times, we have not been able to compensate them well. So we need to make sure that we train a cadre of nurses, because you have a lot of young women around who are underemployed or unemployed. We need to make sure everybody who wants to do nursing, we send them to school and we give them at least a stipend to keep them going, because we need nurses in the healthcare system. And then we don't have any specialists, because if you want to specialize, you're on your own, it seems. So we have to invest in getting more specialists in the medical field as well. So look, I talk about food security or food insecurity earlier. And I need us to understand something. We're not going to be able to produce everything because Nevis is small and we have to do a lot of different activities on this small island. But we must at least make an effort to cut down on the food import bill. We're spending too much money outside. And then what we are getting sometimes is not necessarily grade A, because sometimes I go in and I want an orange and I have to feel up everything before I could get something that is reasonable. So we're not necessarily getting the best products, but there's potential for us to produce some things. And so we must explore that potential. We can't just be talking about food security and not delivering on it. And that is the problem I have with this current administration, is all talk and hardly any effort whatsoever is put into planning and planning effectively for us to make a change in the way forward. So we have to establish, and I want to introduce them to this because I tried when I was there. But of course, for some reason, it seems that they don't like women to tell them nothing. But I tried. So I tried to introduce them to this concept of what we call contract farming. Because we have a lot of people who would like to farm, but they just do not have the inputs. They just cannot afford to go to a bank because banks are not that favorable to farmers. Nowhere in the world banks are that favorable. But we have to change that. So what I'm proposing that we do, we must set up an organization or an entity rather that could at least contract farmers. All they have to do is to put in the labor. So if you want somebody to produce chickens, and they do that in other places, it's not a new concept, mind you. I'm not holding this as if this were a novel concept coming from Patricia Bartlett. This is something that has worked in other places, developed countries. And this is something that we should embrace as soon as possible. So what I'm proposing, we set up this entity and give you, let's say we're going to produce chickens. I give you the chickens. I give you the technical advice, meaning that I have my technicians who would come around and teach you how to look after your chickens properly. I give you the feed. I give you the medication. You pay for the water. And at the end of the day, you turn over whatever the produce is to me, and I market. So you don't have to worry, because the antiquated way of doing things, that is where we are stuck right now. You find somebody go on the farm, they farm, they go home, they come back, they have to do the weeding, they have to do everything. And when they're done, they still have to head down and sell. Go buy rams, and they say, well, we don't want nothing today, and so they have to leave there. And so many hours of productive time is wasted. So instead you focus on farming. You won't have to go collect, you have to do the shopping, and then you still have to go and do the marketing. That makes no sense. And so what we are proposing is that we get contract farming as a staple in agriculture if you're going to move forward. If we find that we have people who, like Llewellyn, who have enough money to do his own thing, or the bank is favorable to him, what we are proposing is that we have some zero interest loans for farmers. So when Llewellyn sells his crop, all he is responsible for doing is just paying back what he borrowed. He ain't have to worry about the high interest rate. Now that is progressive thinking. And we know we're not gonna get it on the other side. So Bad Village, what you waiting for? What you waiting for? You need people to represent you who are progressive in the way they think. And another pet peeve that I have, this one is a pet peeve. All the people who we are sending away to train as agriculturists, when they come home, we see them establish their farms. And that is a good thing. Because when I went to school, there were people in my class who came to be vets so that they could go back home to their family farm. There is where we need to go. If you have the potential, let you help to train you to the extent that you want to go, even if you want to go to a PhD level. When you come back, make sure that land is available for you so that you can do your farming and you can employ some of the people. So instead you have idle people. Instead you have a bunch of people every day going on a half an acre just to weed some onions for government. All these people could be better, the labor could be better spent if all these people who are trained agriculturists are supported in maintaining their own businesses. So they don't have to be bound to government. You come home, you have a PhD, you have a master's, whatever you have, even an associate's degree, give you the resources you need. Give you the 10 acres of land or whatever you require so that you can work that and you can employ people. It doesn't make any sense for us to have all the expertise in one department. Everybody show up to work from 8 to 8 to 4 every day. And at the end of it, they go on home on the farm. Their farm is productive, but what government is producing is next to nothing. That makes no sense. What we need to do is to empower our people. Empower our people, and so they can contribute in a meaningful way to the development of the country. So that is about food security. That is what I call forward thinking. So bad people, listen up. as it relates to reducing the inflation, because we all experiencing it. My husband over there, poor thing, where he come from, things ain't so expensive. So when he goes and he come back, he's always complaining, oh, this bag is just too, And I'm like, I hear it enough now. I don't even want to hear it anymore. I just don't even bother when he comes in. I just block him out with that, because I know that things rough. Yes. I know things are likely to get rougher. And so we are going to propose that we reduce the VAT, because our inflation is something that they call internal inflation. And what that means is, the thing's not that expensive out there, But you see, when they reach to our border, we have to pay VAT on this, we have to pay customs service charge. When they finish with us, something you buy out there for $100 will end up cost you $300 just to clear it. Now that is not reasonable, not progressive. So what we would propose is to reduce the VAT. Mind you, we cannot say tax-free. We can't give away everything. So it is reasonable, I think, in the first instance, for us to reduce VAT from 17% to at least 10%. So this is not a pet peeve. This is serious business. And some people have been taking objection to the fact, or making objection to the fact, that I say that we have poor people. No, I'm a plain speaker, and I don't know any other way to say that people poor than to say that people poor. So I just kind of want to stick to the facts. So the facts say that before the pandemic, we had a poverty rate of 21%. Mind you, 21% is high. Yes. But now what we are hearing is that coming out of the pandemic now, we are at a stage where we have 31% poverty. Now it means that we have had a 50% increase in the number of people who are now in poverty. And poverty is not a bad thing, it's not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of your government. Yes. Because when people are making noise saying, okay, send us back to sink, we won't get you more pap. Huh? You can't, that is the kind of thing you have for us? No, bad people, you need to demand better than that. You need to tell them you don't want nobody to keep you in poverty. You want somebody to eradicate poverty. We need to take this thing seriously, because in the meantime, everybody else in the world moving on. Because when we start talking about the sustainable development goals, the number one sustainable development goal is for you to eradicate poverty. You eradicate poverty and most of your work done. You can almost go home. So that ought to be the focus of our government. We can't be here making noise about increasing PAP just to keep people in poverty. We must have plans and programs in place to get them off of PAP. So when the Premier talking about, we can't put nobody on PAP, well, you shouldn't be trying to put people on PAP. You should be telling us what intervention you had in place that took people off of PAP. Huh? You must have more ambition for your people. And NRP does that. NRP has your best interest at heart. So when we focus on poverty reduction, not only reduction, but poverty eradication, it means elimination, right? Those are the words you use. Right, we have to kill it. We have to take poverty out of Bath. We have to take poverty out of Brown Hill. We have to take poverty out of Cherry Garden. And as we go around the island, we need to do away with the poverty. But it means that we must be strategic about what we do and stop going around just giving people little money and tell them you're all right. That's not good enough. So what we're going to do in NRP, what we're proposing, because the thing is, education is the way out of poverty, Education is the way out of poverty. So we're going to make sure that every household, at least one person for every household, gets free education all the way to university. Yeah, there you go, and we're going to continue. We're going to continue where we left off. But we're going to depend on black people to give us the opportunity to do that, because nobody else seems to care. they just feel comfortable. They're saying things like, well, poverty has always been with us, you know? So you know what that means? You're poor. They met you poor and they're going to leave you poor. And in the meantime, you see where they're progressing, right? You better vote for me. So we're also proposing free skills training because our people need to be able to compete in the old lands. Too many of us here, we have children who maybe they didn't do so good in school with the, you know, with the maths and the things like that, but they're good with their hands. They can do other things. It means that we must provide skills training for them. Because as it is now, most of the times you're looking for a skills trade man, you have to go outside. Now, how is that reasonable? When you have so many young men sitting around with the capacity to learn a skill, and we're not exploring that. I've said for my women who have, the single women who have children, who are struggling to make ends meet, get a skill. I've encouraged women, go out and learn to tile, go out and learn plumbing, go out and learn electricity. Whatever it is that is out there that men are doing, we can do as well. It's about time we put on our tool belts and go out and make some money. You can gain your independence to that. See how many young men walking around with their pants dropping down. There you go. There you go. Well, we're going to have to change that. We're going to have to change that as well. But we're going to start with making sure that we can compete. Start with making sure that everybody who wants a skill could get the exposure. There you go. And you're living bad, so start spreading the word that your government not looking after you. It's about time you start, yes, because I know you have influence. I know you have influence in the community. Start using that influence. Now, we have a lot of people sometimes, and you hear the premier sometimes would go on a rant and cuss out the young girls them about, oh, they're putting on nails and hair and things like that. Now, what is wrong with looking good? Nothing is wrong with looking good. Nothing is wrong with maintaining your hair or your nails and being presentable at all times, because we have to compete out there for the men who are available. And so nothing is wrong with that. The problem sometimes is that maybe, just maybe, we didn't get the kind of financial training that we needed. And so our literacy rate as it relates to how we spend our money, or what they would call the financial literacy rate, is a little low. But we're going to have to work on that. We're going to have to make sure that the households, whoever is heading a household, get the exposure. So you learn how to budget, you learn how to invest, because sometimes if we can just start small investments, these things can grow over time. So we have to make sure we empower our households, and particularly the people at the head of the household. Now, Julie, you're going to like this one, because I'm going on to housing. And I think my colleague JD has spoken about that time and time again, that the affordable housing is not affordable. No, you can't be selling affordable housing and it is not affordable. That make no sense. Who you fooling? So we have a plan to make sure that the Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation, which was established to make sure that people could get affordable housing, what we are trying to suggest is that we're going to realign what their mission is with what the actual activity is at that organization, at that enterprise, because it belongs to us. You can't be using it just to build some set of people houses, and the people who really need it don't get the help that they need. And the last time, bad people, listen me good, because you were promised that if you voted for the next side, the last time around, that they're going to make things easier for you. What did they do when you voted them in? They went and they took all of you. They said, go down to the bank. They push you off to the bank, and we know how the banks are. They are about making money for their shareholders. And so a lot of you who fell for that, I'm sure you have regrets. But the thing is, it is time for you to make them pay for what they have made you go through. Because it was not fair for them to do that. And an NRP government would make sure that we reverse that. We would buy back some of these mortgages that are underwater. And basically what that means is that right now, the amount you owe is more than the value of the house. Now, how could that be reasonable for poor people? And then for the young men who now aspiring to get your own homes, we are saying, it would be good to start at where you can afford. And we work our way up. So we're going to have different styles of housing. Different styles that you can get an apartment, you can get a studio apartment, you get a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom and work yourself your way up. And not only that, what we are trying to suggest is you can rent to own. Now that is not a new concept. You've heard it before from the NRP, but you let the other side fool you. But it's about time you start zeroing on these things that really could be for your benefit. So if you have questions about this rent to own scheme, and trust me, it is a good scheme, or else Patricia Bartlett would not be associated with it. What I'm suggesting you do is make sure that you contact one of us, because it's a discussion that we ought to have, because there's some things that maybe we could explain a little better than coming on the platform for everybody. So we must give the people in Bath the opportunity to own their own homes. I got you, Bath, and no disrespect, but I think we can do it on upgrade. I think a lot of houses could do with the help. And so government, and the thing is you have been voting consistently and overwhelmingly for a party that has not even delivered something as basic, because that is a basic right that you have to live in affordable and decent homes. So let me now come to the issue that nobody wants to talk about, and I know it won't be long because I know other people like this talk. And Judy had to go work, yes. But we have to talk about accountability. Because accountability around here, some people don't want you to touch that either. They don't want you to touch accountability. So let us just settle on just a simple definition. The World Bank had a simple definition for what we call corruption, right? And what that means is that it is the abuse of public office for private gain. The abuse of public office for private gain. So no matter how much press conference and whatever else they have, they cannot whitewash what we've been seeing. You and I live here. Bad people, you and I live here. So we see what's going on. We see people going to cabinet, taking their colleagues' business to cabinet and leaving your business outside. So when other people get in hotel shares, right now holding in their hands the amount of $44 million. You could imagine that? That is more than Nevis getting out of the fair share, well, maybe just a little bit more. But one man has been represented at that level, and you and I still struggling with high electricity bill because nothing was there for geothermal. You and I still struggling with food insecurity because nothing was advanced on our behalf to make sure that we do something about the position that we're in now. But they don't want you to question them. I've heard, don't ask about the 400 million. Well, everybody wants to know about the 400 million. Nevisions want to know about the 400 million. And then when we heard within recent times that it is now up to 500 million, I mean, I'm even more enraged. Where the 400 million gone? Where the 500 million gone? Yeah? Well, yesterday we saw some bags, a wholesale bags. But may I believe that's where the 400 million gone. I believe that is where your 5% gone. I think that is where the 5% gone, Patsy. And you deserve to get your 5%. So even though we take that into consideration, that is still small pickings. But we're struggling. We have seen people in all kind of convoluted story, double counting, telling you that the Wadzilla engine was a loan, and then come back and tell you that in the 400 million. Telling you double counting all kind of things. And they can't even come up with 200 million. Giving you back the same thing, right? And we are saying that it's time that we had accountability. It's about time. So when we ask a question, we expect a direct answer. Because if you don't have an accountant, you need to get one. Oh, yeah. And I know that government have accountants. Oh, yeah. So the premier shouldn't be trying to struggle to find out where the money gone. If the accountant is on the job, he should have a list of all the assets, yes, all the liabilities. We need to know where the 400 million gone. So you can't say Don't ask me about that. You need to be accountable. Yes. And I just need to share something with you. When I was growing up, my mother used to tell me, like, she might ask you a question and you didn't answer directly. She would say, well, where you be? Good morning, Peter, cabbage ma'am. So it was this story, this guy was selling cabbages. And Llewellyn came over and said to him, good morning, Peter. And instead, well, I can't say Llewellyn because you're not a mom, so let me use her. And so she came over and she said, good morning, Peter. All Peter is focusing on is the cabbage what he's selling. So she says, good morning, Peter. And his response was, cabbage ma'am. And that is what we're hearing. Every time we ask the question, where the 400 million gone? We, cabbage ma'am. Good morning, Peter. Cabbage ma'am. And so we need to get to the point that we get straight answers. We need to find out a direct answer. What role did the Premier play in advancing the project of his colleague, a private project, to the cabinet, not only to the NIA, but to the federal cabinet, so his colleague could be well positioned for the rest of his life, smiling at us, and he can smile. Smiling at us with $44 million US. Let me just convert that. 120 million EC dollars. Any of you often know what that look like? None of us know what that look like, but one man has been represented by our representative who we send to St. Kitts. They can't go down there to talk about fair share and take that to cabinet, but they would have taken their colleagues' business to cabinet. And I suspect that there is more, because the Prime Minister would have mentioned that there would have been cabinet submissions that came on behalf of a law firm in Nevis. So there is more for us to listen out for, and I hope you drop it before the 5th. But we need direct answers. So when we ask these questions, you cannot give us any cabbage ma'am response. We need direct answers. We're not supposed to be asking questions and people saying, oh, well, look over there what this person what they're doing. No, that's a distraction. Answer the question. Answer the question. That is what Nevis people are asking for. We don't want no foolishness. You cannot bring no foolishness and say, well, Janice do something or Pat do something. No. This is not about Janice. This is not about Pat. This is about you being accountable. Because when you offered yourself for service, you took an oath. You took an oath to serve honorably. And you have people around here calling you honorable, when you know that the activities you're involved in are less than honorable. But we have to hold them accountable. So when we ask about relief for Nevision households, and we haven't seen anything come yet from the NEVLEC surcharge, you can't come tell us that patches had stopped geothermal. What foolishness is that? That is a cabbage ma'am response. I asked you about relief for the people in Nevis who are suffering now. What you going to do for them? You're going to tell me patches. Patches stopped the geothermal because Patches wanted to develop geothermal in St. Kitts. What that got to do with me? What that got to do with the people in Bath? Yeah? What that got to do with the people in Nevis? That is a cabbage ma'am response. We don't want no cabbage ma'am response. Come out and say what you're going to do. Come out and say we're going to give you rebates so that everybody could go to NEVLEC and you don't have to pay the surcharge. Government must absorb something during this current guava crop. There you go. He's thinking about St. Kitts people ain't care about us. And then when we ask the question about the Mondo track, to whom are we paying rent for the bleachers that are over there?
Oh, Lord, don't touch that.
To whom are we paying rent?
Don't touch that.
When we ask the question, you cannot say, well, the children went to St. Kitts and they did well. They did well in the inter-primary relay competition. Answer the question, who are we paying? But you see, that is what is not happening. We are not holding them accountable. So when they come back over Bath, ask them the question, because the monies that we are paying for the rental of those bleachers over there, government could have done pay off for them. We could have done fixed Bath Road, yes, and we could have already gotten a stadium over there. But they don't care. They're just going to milk it. They're going to milk it for what it's worth because they've had your full confidence for years. Bad Village people, it's about time. It's about high time you start acting as intelligent as I know that you are. Stop voting for foolishness. Stop voting for style. It's about time that we hold them accountable. We must have transparency. Let them come and say, if it is that you're renting from your friend, come and tell the people of Nevis, because it is not your business. It is the business of the people of Nevis. So I want to end by saying, wake up, Bad Village. Wake up, Bad Village. Because over here is what they consider the stronghold. Over here is where they're coming now to fry chicken and do all kind of foolishness and ride bike. They didn't know that you people in Bad Village to eat chicken before. They didn't know that you all over here riding bike before. But now they're coming. But I need for you all to wake up. Go out and vote for representation that you can trust, because these people have broken trust. They have broken trust. Don't let them take you for a fool. We've had enough of that. It's time that we demand our fair share. They're up and down the place talking about fair share. Cataflang, all kind of cataflang talking about fair share. You think they really care about you and you're getting your fair share? Yeah? They don't care about you getting your fair share. So it's time for you to wake up. And not only you, since I have the mic, I want to appeal to the people in Nevis 10. The people in Nevis 10 have voted the same way over and over again. It's about time you all wake up. Nevis 10, wake up. Rohan Isles is your man. If you want someone with ideas to advance Nevis 10, which is St. George's, make sure on August 5th you go out early and vote for Rohan Isles. Go out, the people in St. James's and St. Thomas's, Nevis 11, go out early and vote for the battle. I ain't making no mistake tonight. I hear too many people making mistake, telling people to vote for hand and hat and all kind of thing, mixing up things. Ain't no mix up here. We know specifically what we want you to do. We're asking you to go out and vote for Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge. And I am depending on you, because you see, in Nevis 9, we are smart people. We are and I don't want anybody else to take on offense, but anytime a government change, is here it happen. Yep. Right in Nevis 9, because you know what? In Nevis 9, we ain't sleeping. We holding people accountable. So anytime a government change, right in Nevis 9, and we are overdue for that change. So to my good people, I am saying, I'm not going to use words like I come to rescue you and all that, because you don't need no rescuing. All I came to do is to wake you up. I want you to wake up, and I want you to do the right thing. And Patricia Bartlett stands here, not because I'm not got nothing else to do. I stand here because I care about the people of Bath as much as I care about the people in Brown Hill, as much as I care about the people in Charlestown. I care about the people in Nevis 9, and I'm here to offer you my help. I am here, and as Rohan said, you want somebody to help? I am here. And all of us are here to help. It's not about us. It's not about what we want to get for ourselves. It's about helping our people out of poverty. Good night. God bless. I love you.
NRP, let me sing it to you. NRP, that's what matters. NRP, let me sing it to you. NRP, that's what matters.
How does she sound? How does she sound? She sounds like she can be the next representative for Nevis 9, doesn't she? Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Patricia Bartlett, and she is asking you for your support on August 5th. And I am asking you to give her that support. I think she is capable. I think she's competent. Man, she can talk all night about the plans that she has for this area. But she was afforded a few minutes to share with you a summary of those plans. And I want you to follow her. follow her. When she's on the radio, listen. When she's on social media, read. When she's in the community, engage her. Follow her. You cannot vote in an election by listening to one side. You have to listen across the media. You have to listen to all of your candidates, and nothing is wrong with that. I want you to listen to the blue team. I want you to listen to the green team and any other teams that may be there. Because when you listen to all the teams, I can assure you that if you are honest with yourselves, you will say that the Nevis Reformation Party has the substance over the hype. And remember, people are going to come, Bath, listen up, people are going to come with $5,000 and $3,000 and $2,000 to sweeten your hand for the election. But guess what? They will come now and you won't see them again for another 60 months. And so when you get $5,000 next week or on August the 4th, understand that they are telling you you are worth $83 a month. $83 a month. When they give you $2,000, you are worth $33 a month. Because when you divide that by the number of months it takes for an election to be called, that is what they are saying you are worth. You ought to be offended, the people of Bath. You ought to be offended, the people of Nevis 9. And you see, I find myself, some people ask me, well, if you're from Bath, how come you're running in St. Paul's? You see, I am from the St. Paul side of Bath. You know, we extra in Bath, so we have two constituencies. I'm from the St. Paul side in Bath. That's the reason. However, I come here tonight standing fully behind the candidate for Nevis 9, Dr. Patricia Bartlett. And I am asking you to give her your support. Ladies and gentlemen, I want our party leader to draw near. We are getting late, and I want her to come up here and speak. And as she gets ready to come forward, I just want to remind you of something. People ask me all the time, what makes NRP different? Well, we have said we are willing to work with everybody. We are not saying we're only working with this party alone in St. Kitts like the other side is doing. We are saying we are willing to work with anybody who's willing to work on behalf of the people of Nevis. That is visionary. That is leadership. We are also not going over to Bastia with a point to prove. You see, some people are going to Bastia with baggage. They have a point to prove. Because they had an issue with the red team, and so they want to prove a point to the red team. They have an issue with the orange team, they want to prove a point to the orange team. But we have no issue with any team. We're willing to work with any and everybody. We're willing to work with them and all, but they don't want us because they are afraid that people realize that we have the ideas, and that is why they sit down and think that they can do it all while the people of Nevis suffer. Also, we have a great mix of candidates. We have candidates with a varied background. We have health, we have education, sustainable development, and agriculture. And I'm only talking about our federal candidates. What a balance when you look at the scheme, the grand scheme of things. That is the Nevis Reformation Party. We want people who genuinely want to serve, not people who are afraid to go back to clean pool. We want people who come in because they want to do it, not because boss, I don't want to go back to my old job. And I'm not trying to knock anybody's hustle, but you must evaluate why people are coming. Dr. Patricia Bartlett is comfortable. She is comfortable. She tells you all the time she's a simple woman. She doesn't want much. She's coming forward because she wants to serve. Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge is comfortable. Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge has a long way to go in terms of her career, and she is comfortable, but she has come forward because she wants to serve the people of Nevis. Rohan Isles is fine. Rohan just wants to take care of his children, and he tells you all the time, boss, if he and his wife shut their eye today, and we hope that doesn't happen. His children are fine because their grandparents help them out. And so Rohan is comfortable. So we are not coming forward because we want anything. All we want is to serve the people of Nevis. Remember that. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to pause here as I invite to the podium our party's leader, the lady who is causing a lot of confusion confusion in Nevis 11. And not in a bad way, but she's ruffling feathers. She has people who have been in hiding for years coming out of the woodworks. She has people who got the audacity to question her character. You know, she has everybody in an uproar, and that is because they realize she's ruffling their feathers over in Nevis 11. Remember, I tell you this. That seat in Nevis 11 belongs to the Nevis Reformation Party, and we will get it back. We will get it back in this election. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to the stage our party's leader, none other than Dr. Janice Daniel Hart. Bring on our leader. Everybody breath.
Nevis first. Hey. Janice before the people. She's a leader. Protect your pride and lose character. Nevis our first priority. Janice shall look to the never dim. She love for the people. She's a leader. Protect your pride and lose character. Nevis our first priority. Janice shine bright, could I never dim.
Good night to my people in Bath Village. Good night. My pleasure to be here. Of course, I am no stranger to Bath Village. But before I get started, I just want to thank all of you who came out tonight to hear what NRP has to say to you. So to everybody, thank you for coming out. And without you, you are the ones who are going to make a difference. And so we're happy that you took the time and you're here tonight. To all who are listening on Radio Land and on the internet and the various radio stations, I would just want to say welcome and thank you for joining NRP tonight. We are here tonight in Bath Village because we have a federal election upon us. A federal election like none before. A federal election that has been called 3 years early. 3 years early because we elected 3 persons and we sent them to St. Kitts to represent us, and they did not represent us. They came in 2015 and 2020 and they said, we are going to St. Kitts to get your fair share. We are going to St. Kitts because we have the Charlestown Accord, and we're going to make sure that the people of Nevis get their fair share. What did we get? Nothing. We got nothing. What did they get? They got fired. They got fired because they did not perform. And we in NRP know that once you are elected, you must perform. Because NRP always says performance matters. And when they believe that they could get elected and do not perform, they get fired, and then they want to come and ask you to send us back. Elect us again. Well, this time it is not going to happen. It is not going to happen this time because we are here. The NRP is here. A very competent NRP team that is going to make sure that all that they were supposed to do and they did not do, you are aware. You know exactly what they were supposed to do. Now, one of the reasons, and I'm going to say this early, one of the reasons why I'm asking everybody to come out and vote on August 5th is because Nevis is in a bad state. Nevis is in a bad state. And it is not because the people of Nevis have changed. It is because the people who were elected to represent us and to represent our well-being failed us. They failed us miserably. And we cannot afford on August 5th to sit at home
because they have failed us so miserably. Before, when we could pay our salary increases, before when we could afford to pay our electricity bills, before when we had a decent standard of living, before when Nevis was nice, before when NRP was in government, and the people of Nevis felt proud to be Nevisians. When NRP was in government and we welcomed everyone, everyone could come and we could have enough work for everybody to have a decent job and a decent standard of living. We are now in a position where we are dependent on syndicats to pay our salaries, to do whatever needs to be done in Nevis. And so before, when we used to say a federal election is not important, remember, we are now fully dependent on syndicats to pay our civil servants, to keep Nevis going. And if we do not make a decision to vote in this federal election, we would have no seat at the table. Now we know the federal election, Nevis is not guaranteed a seat, because if you have a party in St. Kitts that gets 6 seats, you only need 6 seats to have a majority and to form the government. But we are saying, and JD would have said it, Dr. Bartlett would have said it, and the whole world knows that when NRP forms part of the federal government, we accomplish for the people of Nevis. We accomplish for the people of Nevis. We can recall when NRP and PAM joined, we received the Constitution, we received Clause 113, and we gained self-rule. Self-rule meaning that we have the ability to make our own ordinances and our own laws to determine how Nevis can be developed. And under NRP, we capitalized on that. We developed the geothermal ordinance as an example. And we were well on our way to being green and self-reliant when it comes to energy. But the government changed, and we're now going backwards. And so I'm saying to all of us here tonight and to all who are listening, Nevis is going backwards. Nevis is at a place where it has never been before. And we must exercise our rights, and we must be part of that change that we need to see to put Nevis back on track to peace, progress, and prosperity. And so to everyone I'm saying, this is no ordinary election, because if you do not take a stand, and if you do not ensure that we have proper representation and decent representation, well, we do not know what the future would hold for our children. So I'm saying to everyone, the federal election is important. We need proper representation at the federal level, and we need to ensure that there's a future in place for Nevis. Now, 7 years, CCM formed part of the federal government. And we say that they have failed because for those 7 years, we have not seen any new legislation. The most critical piece of legislation that we sent them to St. Kitts, the most critical piece of legislation that they said, strengthen our hands, and we would go to St. Kitts and bring your fair share. And they sat in the government for 7 years and never once made a cabinet submission, never made any legislation, any draft bills to ensure that we could get our fair share. And so today, we are back at the mercies of the federal government to determine what is ours. And the reason why this is so troubling is because we know that when Team Unity was formed, the late Vance Amory, may his soul rest in peace, Honorable Timothy Harris, and Honorable Sean Richards, sat together and came up with the Charlestown Accord as the platform. This is what we agreed to. And so we know once we get into cabinet, once we form the government, we would take the necessary steps. And our 3 representatives sat in the federal government for 7 years and never tabled a bill to ensure that the people of Nevis never again have to be begging the federal government for our fair share. And what has made it worse? They now come out and said, give us a chance to go back. But how can you go back? The Charlestown Accord doesn't exist anymore. It was developed with 3 different parties. And so going back into the federal government, you do not have the Charlestown Accord. And so it's almost as if we have to start all over again. And we know that there's some people who cannot negotiate, they have no patience, and so allow the people, allow the party that understands what it is to collaborate, understands what it is to negotiate, understands what it is to give and take, and understands what it is to make decisions on behalf of the people. That is the Nevis Reformation Party that we need to send to St. Kitts to represent the people of Nevis. Now, we heard some talk sometime before. Dr. Patricia Bartlett mentioned it just now. When we say they sat in Parliament and they sat as part of the cabinet for 7 years and did nothing, we can recall when there was a talk about legalizing cannabis. And they sat back and they said, it's a federal matter. Well, you sat in the federal parliament for 7 years. Did you hear one moment when they said, let's consider legalizing or addressing the cannabis situation? It was not an issue for them. It was an issue to campaign on, but it was not an issue for them to address. We sat here during the pandemic. So many persons would have lost their jobs. Single mothers especially, because so many of them work in the hospitality industry. And we would have listened to a premier press conference after press conference get up and say, I cannot do anything about your severance pay because it's a federal matter. Well, you're in the Federal Assembly, strong with 3 members. And have you heard anything about any submittal, any bill to address severance pay? Nothing. And so the issues that have been impacting the people of Nevis have not really been addressed by the CCM government. Now, we hear a lot of talk about CPL in St. Kitts, and a lot of people in Nevis are frustrated. They're upset. Because we all know that in St. Kitts and Nevis, when we talk about cricket, you know you're talking about Nevis. We're talking about El Comido Willett. We're talking about Keith Atherton and Carly Tuckett and Stuart, Derek Parry. All of these persons who would have made history, made West Indies team. And nothing is done with regards to acknowledging the greatness of the divisions with regards to cricket. And so, when we look at representation, would you expect, for example, that the great El Comido Willie, not because he's sitting here, but he has made us as divisions proud, and he would have been the person that would have inspired so many others that came after him. And we know what he means to the people of Nevis and others like him. And so, went to St. Kitts, 3 strong. Was there any recommendation that our sports icon should be a national hero? And so what we have been seeing is a CCM government that has spent all of their time thinking about themselves. No, I'm not going to talk too much about the $400 million because I know everybody heard about the $400 million and we can't find it. We cannot point to a project in Nevis that we can say, this represents the $400 million from Nevis. But you know what is bad when it comes to accountability? It is not just the $400 million. Because I can recall when under NRP we had a fully funded $30 million fisheries project to go right here in Gallows Bay, and they squandered that project. That project ended up going to a different island. Why? Because they thought about themselves. NRP brought the project, so they didn't want to continue it. And so if NRP brings a project, funded, everything is in place, ready to go, but just what they say, selfish and bad-mindedness. And who suffered from not having that fisheries complex? It's not them. It's not them. It's the people of Bath Village and the fishers. And so what I'm saying is we must recognize that CCM has no interest about developing the people, about developing Nevis in a manner that is going to help the people. No, it's not just the fisheries complex. We see a government that during the pandemic piled taxes upon taxes on the people, and we have to pay that. We see a government, there was a project to construct a boardwalk from Charlestown over to the Bath Bogs, which was part of the same fisheries complex project. And all of that was abandoned. And so who are we looking at? And so when we look at what is required in order to develop Nevis, we are not seeing that CCM represents what it is to represent the people of Nevis. Now, there's an issue that we have with regards to transparency and the way that the CCM government feels that they're working for themselves. They're working for themselves, and so every project that they do, it's as if it's a big secret. They don't have to tell the people. And we know that when you're developing projects, you must involve the people. You must get their input. And so when we see what's happening at the airport, nobody knows what's happening. You only hear that some deal may be happening. And when you see what's happening with the research park over at Potworks, nobody really understands. And so this CCM government operates in a sense of secrecy, where only those who form part of the government and the close friends understand what is happening. And so while we see in this cloud of secrecy, only recently we found out about how much it is, $120 million EC dollars for a sitting minister of government. And you see, when we talk about transparency, when your government understands that they're not working for themselves but for the people, then they would not go into government with $10 in their pocket and want to come out with $120 million when you end up only having $1 in your pocket after paying all the taxes, etc. And so we are saying it is time for CCM to go, because they have been enriching themselves while the rest of us struggle. The rest of us struggle. And so we are saying NRP is here to represent the people of Nevis. We look at our economy, struggling. We're not seeing the investors that were out to sea. And why you think we're not seeing these investors? Because they cannot trust the CCM government. They cannot trust the CCM government. And if you cannot trust the government, no investors are going to come and invest their money in the country. Because you see all of these different deals. You see all of these ministers enriching themselves, but the people continue to struggle. And so we say it is time for CCM to go. We look at our geothermal, no geothermal. We look at, for example, the custom charges. Dr. Bartley spoke about this. So high. And you want to tell me that one minister of government can put together a project where he himself would benefit from $120 million, and the government, they cannot sit down and put a project together to help reduce your custom charges, to help reduce the cost of electricity. And so you must wonder, is the CCM government for you or for themselves? I think there is enough evidence to show that they are for themselves. Now, I'm just going to point out a few things. Under an NRP government, had we received $400 million, I'll tell you some of the things that we would do with it. And as Dr. Bartlett said, one of the main issues in being a part of the federal government is to be able to form the legislation that is going to help us to advance Nevis. But had we received the $400 million, I would tell you some of the things that we would do. We know that fisheries is important to our daily living. And when you look around at the fish landing sites in Nevis, you do not see any improvement from the last 10, 15 years. And what makes it worse is that we have the Minister of Fisheries from Nevis 11. The Minister of Fisheries in the federal government is from Nevis, and you have not seen any improvement. I speak to the fishers all the time. When there's a hurricane, they struggle to get their boats out of the water. No ramps constructed. And so the expense that they have to endure to get a truck and a backhoe and all of these things, why we couldn't build a simple ramp to help the fishers? Why can't we ensure that the fishers have proper lockers to keep their gears safe? And so we are saying to you, under NRP government, we would ensure that as part of our food security program, the fishing sector is modernized, it's enhanced, and we provide the necessary incentives that our fishers in Nevis do not have to go to St. Kitts to buy equipment and supplies that is still cheaper than if they were to buy it here. And so when we say that there is no representation, these are the things that we speak of. Now, I used to come to Bath Village when my son was about 9, 10, because he was a football player. A very good one at that. They used to call him Wicked Left Foot. And when I come here and I see the state of this football field here, with $400 million from the federal government, we know how many football players from Bath Village have made it on the national team. We can remember when Bath Village won the national title, and you want to tell me that we do not see any reason to invest and upgrade the facilities here? And so with $400 million, we know you cannot just invest in roads and walls. We must invest in our people. Provide the proper facilities, provide the proper coaching. And so when you see talent in our youth and a path for them to be successful, I can remember coming here with my son and Swoosh and Kimball, and all of these guys were around, and we can see that they want to make something of themselves. Just imagine if they had a government that cared, and out of $400 million, invest at least $1 million in upgrading this facility here at Bath Village. I am saying this government is not connected with the people, whether in Bath Village or any part in Nevis. They're busy enriching themselves. And so we are saying, look at what needs to be done and what is not being done. We look at the hospital that to this day is not completed. With $400 million, look at the persons who have to go to St. Kitts for health care, for dialysis, when we already had dialysis equipment. The same way we had funding for the fisheries complex, and that was left to deteriorate. The same way we had dialysis equipment, and that was left to deteriorate. Because what? These are services for the people. But that doesn't matter to the government, to the CCM government. We can remember when our students had laptops. Each child had a laptop. And we know how much the laptop is needed now. But what? You cannot afford to buy a laptop for your children in school because your electricity bill is so high. Your mortgage from your government house is so high. The cost of living is just so high that if you do not have a government that takes the best interests of people at heart And if we do not have a government that understands that we must invest in our people and not in ourselves, then Nevis is not going to be nice. And I am saying, NRP is the government, is a party that understands that in government you must perform. You must perform. We know that under NRP, Nevis was nice. We know that under NRP, all were welcome. We know that under NRP, the work permit cost $1,500. CCM increased the work permit and then told the Guyanese and the non-nationals, we're going to reduce it for you. And they reduced it to what? Where NRP had it as a standard. And so we must recognize that they're not looking out for the best interest of the people. They would tell the Guyanese and the non-nationals, for example, you must take the vaccine in order for you to get your work permit renewed. When there is no money available, there is no help from this government. But when they need you to vote for them, they can give you amnesty, they can waive all kind of taxes because now they need you. We are saying no, this is not the Nevis that we want. We want a Nevis where you have job opportunities. We want a Nevis where everybody can work together in harmony. We must change the direction in which Nevis is going. And we always say, for NRP, Nevis and the people of Nevis is our first priority, not ourselves. And we're saying that change must come. And we're asking each and every one of you on election day on August 5th, come out and vote. In number 9, you're going to vote for who? For Patricia Bartlett in number 9. In number 10, we're going to vote for Rohan Isles. And in number 11, NRP, everybody you're going to vote for Daniel Hart. And NRP would be prosperous and will make Nevis nice again. I wish my DJ could have played Nevis nice again, but we understand how it is tonight. So I'm just asking you to recognize the federal election that is upon us is important. We are not in a position now where we can say we are looking after ourselves. We are dependent on the federal government. You must have representation at that table so that we can be involved in the decision making to ensure that Nevis is represented and we get what is ours. I will say to you tonight, thank you once again for coming out, all of you. Do get home safely, and we will see you again soon. In the meantime, join us as we canvass throughout the various villages. Give us your support, express your concerns to us, and we will ensure that we do our best to address your issues. Thank you very much to all. Good night.
Nevis first. Nevis first.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our party's leader and the next parliamentary representative for Nevis 11. I want to thank you so much for sticking and staying with us. Before you go, I want to let you know that we are in the communities and we are canvassing, and we want all of your support. If you are able to come out and support us. So we have up next Rohan Isles. He's doing a mass canvassing in Nevis 10 on Wednesday 20th, that's tomorrow. And so join him in Rollins if you are able to, because the message of the Nevis Reformation Party must be spread. The message of the Nevis Reformation Party must get to every home, to every door, to every pair of ears. And we need all of you to help us in that regard. If you can't go to mass canvassing, talk to your neighbor. Pick up your phone. Whatever you can do to convince someone, especially the children in your homes, the adult children in your homes. You need to ensure that your adult children go out and vote, and that they vote for the Nevis Reformation Party. Bad Village, it's been a pleasure. Before we go, we want to remind you that under an NRP-led government at the local level, and an NRP-led team at the federal level, and an an NRP team at the federal level and at the local level, we will ensure that everybody eats. We will not be selfish. And so, whenever there is a job that the government has, a big job, for example, like a housing project, we are not going to go and buy the machinery so that we can reap the benefits while you suffer. We are not going to have everybody else paying their mortgage while somebody, our friends, come, don't take a loan, get all the materials for free. That is not going to happen under the Nevis Reformation Party, because everybody must eat and it must be fair for one and all. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for indulging us. The people of Bath, I came out tonight. Tonight is a special night for me, eh? My little brother is home. My little brother is home, huh? So it's a special night for me. But I left my family and I came here tonight because I wanted to convince you all that the NRP and Dr. Patricia Bartlett is the best choice for you at this point in time. Thank you very much. Thank you to Elrose. Thank you to the Bath community, our DJ, our technicians. Thank you. Get home safely, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.
Now pay attention. Plenty benefits with mathematics. Multiply the